Here's a simple breakdown of Dragon Ball in chronological order that you can use as a guide. Because once a franchise gets this big, it multiplies. With the different series, filler episodes, movies, and spin-offs, things can feel more overwhelming and complicated than they actually are. Whenever in doubt, remember this roadmap. Dragon Ball, the original series. Here's where it all began. Kid Goku meets Bulma and they kick off the hunt for the Dragon Balls. It starts off as a goofy adventure road trip, then gradually becomes a martial arts story with tournaments, rivalries, and Goku learning what it means to grow stronger while staying pure at heart.
It's time to finish this!
Dragon Ball Z episodes 1 to 288. The tone shifts into bigger stakes, aliens, prophecy-level villains, and battles that push the whole cast past their limits. Except maybe Yamcha. It's also Gohan's coming-of-age story, running alongside Goku's training, sacrifice, and the idea that strength is earned. Chronologically, the events that happen in DBZ pause here after the Buu saga, but we'll revisit this era later. Dragon Ball Daima picks up right after the events of the Buu saga. Our main cast takes a detour to the Demon Realm. A new threat uses the Dragon Balls to change Goku and his friends to children, forcing them into a quest that leans more into exploration and problem solving. It harkens back to the franchise's roots, focusing more on the lighthearted and fun adventure elements of the original series, while creating a bridge in the timeline between Z and Super. It kind of also reminds me of GT, which we'll talk about later, because of Goku turning into a kid and Super Saiyan 4 also making an appearance here as well. Dragon Ball Super. Now taking place after Daima in the series, high-ranking gods enter the picture, there are multiple universes, and the series balances between slice-of-life comedy and huge tournament moments. In order of release, Super came after GT, but unlike GT, Toriyama was directly involved with this one, designing new characters like Beerus and outlining the story, shaping the direction of major arcs. Here, the series continues to evolve by asking the question, what does growth look like when you're already a legend? Fan reception has been largely positive, especially around the arcs like the Tournaments of Power and the post-series films like Broly and Superhero. Dragon Ball Z, episodes 289 through 291. This wraps up the events from Dragon Ball Z and takes place after Super. It's a peaceful time, the world is calmer, the cast is older, and Goku's curiosity for the next challenge carries the torch forward. If you want a streamlined version of Z with less filler episodes focusing on the meat of the story, Dragon Ball Z Kai is a good alternative. It retells the same core story in a tighter format. I especially recommend watching Z this way if you don't have that much time and you have a lot of shows to binge on your list. Dragon Ball GT. This is an Elseworlds sequel to the events of Z. Goku is turned into a kid again and is joined by Trunks and his granddaughter, or Gohan's daughter, Pan, in a story that starts as a space adventure. It eventually moves into heavier arcs more similar to DBZ, like the battles against Baby and the Shadow Dragons. Fan reception on this one are pretty mixed. Some appreciate the ideas and darker tone, others feel it strays too far away from the soul of Dragon Ball. And unlike the main series, GT was produced without Toriyama writing the story, though he did contribute with character designs and the series title. But I actually enjoyed the series. There are several memorable moments and villains that I think make it worth watching. Check it out if you haven't, and if you are curious to see an alternate timeline of events and ending to the Dragon Ball anime. Super Dragon Ball Heroes. This technically isn't a series on its own, but rather a promotional anime created to support the Super Dragon Ball Heroes arcade card game in Japan. It's built around the game's what-if scenarios, alternate timelines, unexpected team-ups, and dream matchups that wouldn't normally happen in the main story. Think of it as pure fan service, short episodes, big transformations, rapid-fire fights, and lots of cool moments. It doesn't affect the main timeline at all really, but if you enjoy seeing multiverse level fight matches, it can be a fun watch. You should be able to find these episodes online for free on places like YouTube. Now, almost every series in Dragon Ball also has its own movies. They're usually not required for the main story because most of it isn't even canon, but they can be great as bonus adventures, fights, retellings, or side quests. that deepen or expand the lore. Some notable mentions are The Path to Power, which retells the events of the original Dragon Ball series, Dead Zone, Cooler's Revenge, where we meet Frieza's brother, Broly the legendary Super Saiyan, and The Wrath of the Dragon, all set during the DBZ era. And of course, the Battle of Gods and Resurrection F movies, which kicked off the events for Super, and were also adapted in the anime. Plus, Dragon Ball Super Broly, a standout reimagining of the legendary Super Saiyan, and Dragon Ball Super Superhero, which gives us the Gohan comeback that many of us have been waiting for to see for decades. If you only take one thing away from this watch order, remember the original Dragon Ball series is the fun adventure that started it all. Z raised the stakes and set the tone for the rest of the franchise, while everything else after that really is just another chapter or an alternate path in the timeline. Okay, now that you've got the roadmap, if you want an even deeper look into each series of Dragon Ball, including the movies and specials, click on the link in the description to get our detailed series guide and, as a bonus, Pop Pulse Digest, our free newsletter that gives you an exclusive first look to our newest videos and keeps you updated on the latest announcements in anime, gaming, and comic book, TV, and movies.